Greetings, everyone. We're going to start learning a fascinating sefer uh, written by a guy in Olam, Shlomo Algazi, from the famous Algazi family, grandfather of the Rit Algazi, father of Yisrael Yaakov Algazi, like Dor Achar Dor of Goine Olam, particularly in Pilpul and Iyun. But they had, they were Kabbalistically inclined, and I think I mentioned that they were the ones who brought the Sefer Chemdas Yomim. You know, they brought it out to the open, claiming that they bought it off the author. So first of all, the Algazi says, okay, he's okay. Whoever the author was, some think that maybe they wrote it themselves. One of the Algazis, the one who printed it, and just used just because he was humble. I bought it off the author. It's a wonderful sefer Chemdas Yomim. But anyway, so it's from Shlomo Algazi, originally from Turkey, then subsequently in Eretz Yisrael, and that's where the dynasty continued in Eretz Yisrael and in Egypt. All right, like I said, even a big world-class lamdonim, goinim, but they were Kabbalistic. They were quite well educated, and even at a young age, this Shlomo Algazi mastered the ZOHAR, and as a young man, and he just saw what we've been speaking about, how the ZOHAR, has a lot of good, useful Mussar in it. Good, useful Mussar that every Jew could know and appreciate. But since it's from the ZOHAR, it'll have the special added qualities of being granting, aside from the content, the simple giving Yiras Shamayim, Taras HaNefesh, and being Makarav the Gula that we should get out of Golus Barachamim, which is what we need now, which is why we also started learning the Sefer Reishis Chachma, because of the great amount of ZOHAR that's there. But an amazing thing. So he put together a Sefer Mulefes Sappirim, which is Mussar from the ZOHAR. He was very, and you could rely on Rav Shlomo Algazi. You could rely on Rav Shlomo Algazi. That he knows what's Shavel Chol Nefesh and going like, and he also translated into Hebrew, right? Because the Lashon HaZohar is a very tough dialectic of Aramaic, and he translated into Lashon HaKodesh in a very straightforward Lashon HaMishnah, similar to the type of Hebrew of the Rambam, and you could trust the translation because it's done by a guy in Olam like Rav Shlomo Algazi. Please forgive the construction in the background. So it's like using his huge, and then he wrote it as a young man. They should always have accessible, and you're supposed to read the Sefer every 30 days. The good, solid Mussar, Yerushalayim, Emunah ideas from the ZOHAR rendered into Lashon HaKodesh, and he claims he wrote it for himself. And but then some donors of his, some patrons saw that what a great book is, decided to put it out. He himself was never planning to put it out, and they put it out. Now, really, for any serious learner, he should be able to tackle the Sefer itself, because, like I said, Shlomo Algazi was selective to dafka say, the inyanim from the ZOHAR, bring from the ZOHAR things that are shavel chol nefesh, nothing overly esoteric. And he also rendered it into a very accessible Lashon HaKodesh, and it's a translation you could be soymach on, because he was a guy in Olam, and he was a maven. But still, I thought, why not? We have to increase Limud HaZohar in these troubled times for reasons that we've explained more than once, just in the last 72 hours. So what the hey? We'll go on. And this is real Pnimis HaTorah that Shavach HaNefesh, not this type of crap all you hear from the Neo-Hasidic bozos. This is real. This is real Pnimis HaTorah that's Taka Shavel Chol Nefesh. And so without further ado, I'm going to skip the Akdama. I said over the Akdama, in my own words, of how he wrote it, when he was a young man. It was really for himself. So without further ado, we are, he divided it for 30. We're not going to keep it. We're not going to keep his pace of finishing the Sefer within 30 days. But I'm somewhat optimistic that we might be able to do it within 2 months if we're consistent. But anyway, so he divided up in the issues of the ZOHAR, what it has to say about Torah, what it has to say about mitzvahs, what it has to say about a Kodesh Baruch, what it has to say about angels, what it has to say about Noshim Tzidkonius. Look at that. He was it was another entry. Things that about the mile of Noshim Tzidkonios, the mile of Tzadikim, and that's all in Yarm covered in Chelik Rishon. Chelik Sheni is about Avodah, the mile of the base of Beis, the Yarm of Korbanos, Tefillah, Shabbos, and the Tefillah of Shabbos, the Yom Tovim, Tshuva, Bria So'ilam, Yetzer Tov and Yetzer Ra and Malchamavas, Neshama, right, and the levels of the Neshama, and that's higher, the power of the Neshama, Ganen, Gehenom, Tzedakah, all types of Ramazim, and these are the two major categories and subcategories. So Torah and Avodah, and I listed all the subcategories. It's all less than 200 pages, doable in a month like he originally intended. I don't know if we'll be committed to that time to finish the whole Sefer in a month. But like I said, the mile of this Sefer covers its Zohar on these fundamental topics that we just enumerated over here, and it's directly from the Zohar. Just he put it into Lashon HaKodesh, and and we'll have So without further ado. Say Breishis Daf Daled on Beis Kosovo. So the Zohar and Breishis Daf Daled on Beis. It's written as follows, and it's all rendered into Hebrew. This is but it's a very faithful Hebrew, a faithful translation that carefully that's a very, very strict and accurate translation of the original Aramaic. Rabbi Shimon Pasach, Shimon used to open say, I put my words in your mouth, the Navi says. A person has to be so toil in Torah by day and by night. That's Hashem's words in our mouth. That's his Torah in our mouth. So how much a person has to toil by Torah day and night? Kosh Baruch Hu listens to the voice of those who toil in Torah. And everything any chiddush that you have in Torah, I also mishtadel through the chiddush that comes up through that guy who was being mishtadel and striving in Torah. Also that word, that chiddush, goes up. Hashem listens to it, and Hashem takes that kol of that chiddush and makes a new firmament, a new rakia. Right? Shemayim Chadashim. Right, that's what the Navi calls, Shemayim Chadashim, Veretz Chadasha. Hashem is making new heavens and a new earth. So the new heavens come out from Chidushei Torah. So the pasuk says, that the Lashon pasuk in Yeshayahu, I believe, is I put my words in your mouth, and I also cover you with the shadow of my hand. With the shadow of my hand, I cover you. So what's the what? So Asidra Ficha is having Hashem's Torah in our mouth, but what's with the shadow the shadow of my hand I cover you. Amalo. So Shimon answered Rabbi Lazar, Beishirim Torah Moshe Rabbeinu Alav Hashem. At the time that Torah was given to Moshe Rabbeinu, so few tens of thousands of heavenly angels came to just burn them up with the fire that just the heat that comes out of their mouth. Had to literally cover him and protect him. And as we said, with the shadow of man, I covered you. Right? Hashem, Hashem had to protect Moshe, when he was going to get the Torah from the angels that were jealous. Here's also Torah, and it remains true. It wasn't just true by Moshe Rabbeinu, who was getting the Torah and he made the angels jealous. But anyone who learns Torah, Zok the Zohar, and says Chidushim, from which HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes new Rekiim, right, new ferments. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu covers that Chiddush. Right, so Baruch Hu covers him and covers the chiddush that comes out of his mouth, that the angel should not see it and be jealous. Mikan. So from here we learn anything that Hashem covers up obviously is of great use, of great power. So the pasuk says, the pasuk goes on to to implant the sky and to found the earth, which refers to creating new heavens and new earth from the Chidushei Torah, and the pasuk ends to tell Zion, you are my nation. So the Tzion says the Zohar Lashon Mitsuyan, to say to those excellence, especially outstanding. Tzion literally means outstanding. You could see it, it stands out. To say to those outstanding things, things that stand out. Ashorim Mechashor, that the outstanding things that a person's Mechashor, Amiata. Right, you are my nation. Don't read it Ami, my nation, but Imi, you're with me. As if you're with me, as in you're my partner. You're with me in partnership. Just like by me, with Hashem's word, the heavens were created. Like right? So also you. You also with your words of Torah, So when I spoke those psukim of Bereshis, I created the whole Genesis, including the heavens. So also you, with your words of Torah, you're Oisei Shamayim. Now that's right. His rendition, translation of Zohar, Daf Daled Beis. We'll do at least one more. So I'm saying Bereshis Daf Yud Beis on Beis. It's now also in the Zohar from Parshas Bereshis. Daf Yud Beis on Beis. Kasuv. It's written. Yeshua my nefesh chaya. Let the water spawn. Living spirits. That refers to the aquatic life. The fish. Right. That's what the pasuk is really talking about. This week's parsha. Ki adam aydei shoisik b'Torah shenikra. Because when a person is Isaac in Torah, which is called water, says the Zohar, right? We have spent the Torah is compared to water, as is well known. Just like water is something that you need, to survive. We also need Torah. Am Yisrael, has a relationship to the Torah like fish have to water. It's a Gemara. I think it's a Gemara. Kiva said that, right? That Am Yisrael needs Am Yisrael needs Torah like fish need water. So Torah is compared to water. So Yishusu Hamayim Sheretz Nefesh Chaya. So now let's break down the puzzle. So if Torah is water, and the water brings forth living life. So therefore, if water is an allegory, it's a metaphor for Torah. So Yishusu Nefesh Chaya, that learning Torah causes you to get new life, a new spiritual life, a new level of soul. Leo Soul Neshama growth, to be for you a holy neshama. Right, you have your regular neshama that's granted, which is also holy, but you have an added neshama kadosha from the Torah that you learned, that the water spawns forth, nefesh chaya. So you get a neshama kadosha. It's called nefesh chaya, and ikra chaya, and it's a level of soul that's called chaya per se, which is the level of shorosh haneshama. So aspect of shorosh haneshama is revealed upon you. And so now what does the pasuk goes on to say? So after the fish are created, v'ofya ofev, and the bird should fly on the al pnei hamayim. So how does that? So to learn that the end of the pasuk about the creation of the birds, the fowl, right? How that relates, what that would be a metaphor for in the person. You reach the level of an angels, because the Ofei, no Lashon Chazal is that the birds that were created on the fifth day are actually the angels. They also refer to angels that in the, even though angels are not physical, they don't look like anything really. But like we explained in one of our shiurim, yes, I think it was in yesterday's Reishis Chachma, right? Even though they appear to have wings, right? They look like birds, right? Because they appear to have wings in the figments of nevuah, the figments that the nevuah causes certain figments to form in the mind of the navi. It's not what anything really looks like, and the navi understands it doesn't really look like that. It's just a mushal. But it's like, they're winged, they look like birds, right? So that means the Torah makes you like Ofya Ofif, which is a remiss to the Malachim, because that's the way they look in a prophetic vision. They themselves have no body whatsoever, right? So that's what they look like in a prophetic vision. So Ofya Ofif, so your person learns Torah is on the level of a Malach, like a level of the Of, which refers to Malachim. Wami Ofif, and a bird that will fly, Ofya Ofif. That Lasila is going to make wings for the tzaddikim. He's referring to the seventh millennium, right? When the polar caps only melt. Climate change is real. It's just not happening fast enough, I always say, because all the polar caps have to melt by the year 6000. In the 7th millennium, it's water everywhere. And what are tzaddikim who are resurrected already? What do? They have wings and they hover over the water. So even those wings are not literal. It's more that the neshama expands and shines through the body to make it, give it, as it were, superpowers. And the neshama shining forth through the body is like wings, breaking out of the body. Those are the wings, the koach of the neshama flaring up that make the body able to hover and survive without food and water. All right, let's do one more. Gimel. Sefer Bereshis. So now another thing, but this is now from the Tikkunei Zohar, right? So here's malakit from not just the Zohar as we know, but all the other books from the base Smyrna from Shim by Yochai also included Tikkunei Zohar. So say but this is from Tikkun Zohar, Tikkun Chaf Aleph, which in the old print is Daf Nun on Beis. Libi Galisa, they've already say, right? I revealed to my heart, but I did not reveal it to my organs, but I revealed it to my heart. Torah Shebechsav Nikrei Slave. So the Tikkunei Zohar says, because the written Torah is called the heart. V'shal Nikra Peh, and Torah Shebechsav is called mouth. Torah Shebechsav Peh. So Torah Shebechsav Peh obviously is called Peh, and Torah Shebechsav is the heart. The heart has to the mouth was not revealed. That the Torah Shebechsav may have in its sidus that were not clarified in the Torah Sheba'al Peh. V'od sham, and also over there in the same Tikkunei Zohar, Ki Torah yesh rosh v'guf v'lev v'peh v'vorim kayotze b'zeh yesh Yisrael mem rasham doing the rosh mem le'nayim v'lev k'neged Sanhedrin. Right. So now the Torah, the Zohar goes on to say that Torah is like a living organism. It has a head, it has a body, it has a heart, it has a mouth, it has organs, referring to the different levels of Torah. The Pshat, the Remez, the Drush, the Sod, referring to certain mitzvahs, are connected to the head, so the body, so the Lev, so just like Torah is has to be viewed like an integrated person. And Zohar actually says elsewhere that Torah even has clothes, like a person has clothes. There's Levushe Torah, there's Gufei Halachas, there's Nishmas Torah. So also, all the divisions of the body apply to the Torah. That says Rosh, Guf, Lev, Peh. But the Jewish people who are the Amma Torah fits like, into us like a glove fits on a person. They were the people that carry the Torah, so obviously we have the same compartments. Torah belonging to the Am Yisrael. That's why the Rabbi of Yaakov Algazi used to always say that the Rabbi didn't give the Torah to the Avos because you can't make a bris olam with individuals that are here today and gone tomorrow. We have to wait till we were a nation. Torah belongs to a nation, Morasha Kehilas Yaakov. So the nation of Am Yisrael, like we're Keish Echad B'Lev Echad, and I can't help say that our current situation is one that says, look how all Am Yisrael feels each other's pain. Keish Echad B'Lev Echad. That was the famous, by the Bayless trial that somebody was, that really it was an anti-Semitic trial, and they're really putting the Jewish people on trial by putting Mendel Bayless on trial, and they were actually talking about and they're prosecuting Bayless, prosecuting the whole Jewish religion that's anti-goy, it's anti-humane, and really all the rabbanim from across the world, you were writing answers to the questions of the prosecution. It wasn't just Mendel Bayless was on trial; the Jewish religion was on trial. And one of the questions that the goyim were perturbed, the goyim had, what perturbed them was, Atem Kroim Ben Akum Kroim. You're called Adam, and the goyim, like you see, they consider the goyim like animals. Well, Hamas are animals, savage animals, right? But they did not put themselves. They would not. Any respectable, even Russian, would not put himself on the level of what those savage Hamasnikim did. By that, they would be murdered, that they're animals, right? But we're not animals, and so the Torah is like racist. And Rav Meir Shapiro of Lublin, wrote in, no, you have to say Atim Krim Adam. You're called Adam singular. The whole Jewish people are like one person. They're not Krim Adam because over there by the Goyim it's every man for themselves. But Klai Sols Arevim Zelzek Ish Echad B'Levachad. Atim Krim Adam singular. And he said, look, proof is right here in this very letter that I'm writing. Says the Rameir Shapiro. I never met Mendel Bayless. I have no idea who he is or what he looks like. So yeah, and he's a Russian. I'm Polish. And here I never met him, and I don't even know what he looks like, and he's Russian, I'm Polish, and here I am, and his problem is my problem, and I'm writing this letter in his defense of Jewish religion, showing that Am Yisrael is like Ki'ish Echad B'Lev Echad Soso Katzei Yisrael. So this is what the Zohar is saying, this same message, the Zohar that he's quoting. Yesh Be'em Rosham, they're the heads of nation, heads they sort of connected to Rosh. And Domim L'Rosh, Rosham. Mem Le'inayim Levin, there are some Yidden that are like the Einayim, like the Sanhedrin, or like the heart, that's connected to Sanhedrin. The Sanhedrin are called Einei Ha'eda, the eyes of the congregation. They're also called the heart, because Sanhedrin sits point center in the Lishkas HaGazis on Har HaBayis, like the heart's in the center. They sit, close to the Kodesh HaKadoshim, so you have a look at the base Kodesh HaKadoshim, where the Sanhedrin are like the heartbeat of Am Yisrael, and their understanding of Torah is the way you have to understand Torah in that generation. And that's the issue of Lo Sasu. You have to accept their rulings for that generation. A later generation can learn differently. So they're the heart. So the eyes, they're the heart. That's the Sanhedrin. This I revealed to my heart. So that's what it tells us. I revealed to my heart, but I did not reveal to my other organs. Zok the Zohar. That's how I'm saying. Only the Sanhedrin, that's beside the Lev, the side is by them. Right, and you have to trust them that they're telling you Amita Shel Torah. You can't say, well, no, I learned differently, so I'm not listening to the Sanhedrin. We're talking about the Sanhedrin that was in the Lev, but also the Makam of the Lev. They're in Har HaBayis and Lishkas HaGazis. They're not allowed to argue on them, right? You're not even allowed to argue them outside, except you don't get the death penalty for it. You don't get the death penalty, but there's a lot of rights because the Sanhedrin went into exile, and we still had to listen to the Sanhedrin even after they went to exile. Just there was no dinei nefashos, right? So lo sasur, even if you're potter from Misa when the Sanhedrin is not in the makom of the Lev in point center on Har HaBayis, you still have to listen to them, even if they're not in their proper place. Just if they're in the proper place, you get the death penalty also for not listening to them, right? So that's the libi galisi leivori lo galisi. I revealed my secrets to the Sanhedrin, and that's why you have to trust them. Lo sasur mikoshi yomlucha. To the other Chachamim, they are beside the Evorim, but they don't sit on the Sanhedrin, or they're not from the Roiv of the Sanhedrin. Right? I wasn't Megal to them, so that's your Evorim, the Shar Evorim, the Shar Chacham, Hashem Dom, the Shar Evorim, Lo Gilisi. Right? So someone who is not part of the Roiv of the Sanhedrin, right? You should really trust the Roiv of the Sanhedrin, that they have the MS. Lelibi Golisi, the Rosh gives a special Siyata Shmaya that they are, the Rosh is Megal to them, gives them Siyata Shmaya to be omed on the side of Torah, La'omek, the other Chachamim don't have that guarantee. So that's why you should trust the Sanhedrin, not trust the other Chachamim that are not on the Sanhedrin, or even if they are on the Sanhedrin, they weren't from the Roiv that the Sanhedrin has to follow. All right, that's enough for one day, but it's a look at what a wonderful sefer is, and I encourage anyone that can, to learn the sefer alone. You see, it's he rendered it into such an easy, understandable Hebrew, and he makes it so clear. There's a way to be zeicha to the ZOHAR in both in Hashava L'chol Nefesh, in a very responsible way, and you can rely on the translator. That if it's Shlomo Algazi, so if he watered it down and he did it in a responsible way, that it doesn't detach from the substance of the issue. Okay, I have to stop here. We will continue. Be'ez Hashem. It's just the first to make with that, and it's chus of the Zohar that we learned today, and the Zohar that we learned in Sefer Reishis Chachma earlier today, that we should see, ukme shchinta me'afra, luche shmita galusa, right? We should raise the shechina up from all the mekatrim that they're on right now, because what Am Yisrael Tzar said, Am Yisrael endures on earth is indicative of kitrugim and shamayim. We will raise up the shechina, which is Knesset Yisrael. Raise us up from the earth, from the dirt, right? Raise up out of Gos. We call it Sefer Zohar, all the mekatrim we bottle, ubei nifkon me galusa barachamin amen ken you rotzen.